Okay, let's jump right into it. We've spent a ton of time dissecting the distinct individual parts of the entrepreneurial operating system. But today is all about Chapter 9. We're looking at the grand journey. This is that exact pivotal moment where you stop looking at all these isolated business tools and you actually synthesize them into one unified, breathing company culture.
The ultimate goal here is a massive transition, right? We're talking about moving your organization completely away from that overwhelming reactive chaos and transforming it into a highly systemic, well-oiled machine. And, think about what that chaos actually looks like on a daily basis. It's the constant firefighting. It's the miscommunication across departments. It's that exhausted feeling of running at top speed but barely inching forward. Honestly, it is so common for businesses to operate in this state of reaction, just chasing down symptomatic issues one by one. But by fully committing to this system, the whole aim is to shift that dynamic entirely, moving us from frantic survival mode straight into proactive, scalable growth.
So ask yourself, what really happens when a leadership team stops looking at individual business problems as isolated emergencies and finally starts assembling all these distinct puzzle pieces into a unified whole? I mean, it's super easy to read about weekly meetings, quarterly planning, and goal prioritizing as if they're disconnected events, but the real power emerges in the outcome. What actually happens to a company's momentum when all of those daily and weekly disciplines are suddenly completely connected?
Well, the real magic isn't found in a single well-run meeting or some perfectly formatted scorecard. It's actually found in how vision, people, data, issues, process, and traction all interlock to create an unstoppable system. A weakness in one literally weakens the entire whole. You just can't have great traction without crystal clear data, and you definitely can't solve issues without the right people. Each individual tool isn't nearly as important as the collective ecosystem they create. You absolutely need to deeply understand and master all 6 of these components together if you want to fully gain that elusive compounding traction.
Now here is a crucial reality check. And honestly, this should take a massive amount of pressure off your exhausted leadership team. Achieving a 100% state of perfection, it simply doesn't exist. Reaching just 80% mastery will build a truly great company. Shifting an organization from chaos to a well-oiled machine is incredibly hard work. If you're out there aiming for absolute flawlessness in every single process and every single meeting, you are going to burn out and fast. Chasing that final 20% really just causes diminishing returns and a whole lot of unnecessary frustration. So accept that 80% mastery across the board is a phenomenal benchmark for extraordinary success. But releasing that pressure of perfection doesn't mean the work just stops. Maintaining that highly effective 80% reality requires intense nurturing, deliberate care, and a strict, unyielding routine. Think about it. Just like keeping your body healthy or maintaining a high-performance engine, the work of managing a company running on this system is never truly complete, and it is certainly never automatic. You can't just set it all up during some annual retreat and walk away expecting it to run itself. It demands a relentless, ongoing dedication to the daily and weekly routines that you've established.
So how do you actually make this happen without completely overwhelming your team? Well, the secret is in the rollout. You must avoid the massive mistake of dumping a brand new, complex system on everyone in the company all at once. Please don't do that. Instead, introduce the tools tier by tier, starting only with those who report directly to the leadership team. Now, if you have a small 10-person company, sure, that first tier might be everybody. But if you have 250 employees, dropping this on them simultaneously will just create confusion and resentment. You need to patiently cascade this down through multiple tiers, making sure each level fully understands and embraces the system before you move any lower in the org chart.
And you also don't need to implement everything on day one. Focus your energy squarely on the foundational 5. Implementing just these 5 core tools across your entire company will produce 80% of your desired results. So first, clarify your organizational structure with the accountability chart so everyone knows exactly who is responsible for what. Second, set clear 90-day priorities by establishing rocks. Third, get your communication rhythm locked in with a consistent meeting pulse. Fourth, track your absolute most vital numbers on a weekly scorecard. And finally, align everyone's future goals by sharing the vision/traction organizer. Really, mastering just these 5 basics creates an incredibly solid foundation.
As you patiently roll these foundational tools out across your tiers, you're ultimately waiting for one specific phenomenon: the click. This is that transformative lightning bolt moment when your entire leadership team finally grasps exactly why the whole system works. It's this beautiful point where all the initial friction and grumbling about learning a new way of operating just completely vanishes. Suddenly, the team sees how the data component directly feeds the issues component, which seamlessly feeds the traction component. The light bulbs go on, the resistance drops, and it all just clicks into place and makes perfect sense.
But getting to that moment, it requires a deep well of patience. Just think about a highly successful premier marketing company, an agency handling massive, demanding clients like GM and NBC Universal. Even with brilliant leadership and high performers, it took them exactly 1 full year of grueling implementation to finally experience this major aha moment during a quarterly session. A full year. It didn't happen overnight for an elite marketing firm, and frankly, it won't happen overnight for you. Validating those struggles is just part of the journey. You've got to be exceptionally patient with the messy middle of the process and trust that the routine will eventually yield results.
Because when you do reach that point, the ultimate value of this grand journey really reveals itself. A single shared operating system gets everyone speaking the exact same language, playing by the same rules, and moving forward rapidly so everybody wins. Just imagine what that actually feels like on a Monday morning. When all that disparate talent and energy are unified in one single direction, the chaotic friction just disappears. Meetings actually end on time, decisions are made quickly based on real data, not ego. You aren't just exhausted from solving the same recurring problems anymore, you are proactively, aggressively building your vision.
As those organizational frustrations finally subside and you successfully break through your growth ceiling, you have to ask yourself a critical question. You've implemented the foundational tools, you've hit that 80% mastery mark, and you've profoundly experienced the click. So, is the journey over? Or, now that you finally have the framework and the culture to achieve your greatest ambitions, has the real journey just begun? Thanks for exploring this explainer with us, and hey, enjoy the road ahead.